Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mack's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. If life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.sheilamack.com today.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest Dan Fowler. Dan is known as the Imagination Engineer. He's known for his revolutionary techniques that shift a person's perception of their place in the world and gives them clear insights into how to manifest the life of their dreams. Dan has been in the interactive media production industry for over 27 years and has developed a proven system to help any profit-centered entrepreneur access their imagination, design the perfect dream, and then monetize those ideas and dreams on demand. Dan prides himself in teaching people how to change their stories internally and externally through deep mental, spiritual, and specific work that helps them reinvent themselves as a new breed of leader, fueled by the knowledge that you never manifest what you want. You always manifest who you are. I love it. Well, welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I appreciate it. I love being here.
Yes, and based on my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation, I love to start each show off by asking about a time that you would like to share with the audience in maybe your business or personal life where you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Okay, well, there's plenty of those to choose from, all right? I guess the most recent one I could probably go, because it's probably been the biggest one, is that in 2018, the end of 2018, I had a massive stroke.
Wow.
Massive stroke. So it knocked me out. And the doctors actually didn't think I was actually going to walk again because it was that bad. And but the problem with that is that I heard them say that. And I was like, no, that's not going to be my end game. So, and of course, you know, I was out of working in business for a while, for maybe 4 or 5 months. But I kept going because I had made good moves at making systems that actually worked for me. So I actually didn't have wasn't a big dip, but in the sense of health wise, it was like a wake up call. And it was like, all right, time to change some things.
Yes. Well, you look incredible. And I'm so glad you're back on track now. Yes. And I'd love to hear about your programs and the secrets to manifesting more. I love that.
Sure. Well, I found that, you know, when I was doing media production for my past company, which was Red River Productions, which kind of got osmosis into what I do now, which is the Imagination Institute. When I was doing that, my clients were calling me the Imagination Engineer. I was like, why do you call me that? I was kind of clueless at why they were calling me that. Oh, well, Dan, you kind of jump inside our heads. You're able to extract our ideas and be able to articulate them to us before we can articulate them, and then help us manifest, or in the sense of what they were saying, engineer them powerfully and profitably into the world. I was like, oh, I do that. And I realized I kind of tracked back. And yeah, I do that. So I guess I just kind of assumed the name as, okay, I guess I am the Imagination Engineer, taking people's ideas and putting them into the world in a tangible kind of a way. And so this whole manifesting thing, I kind of looked at what I was actually doing as Imagination Engineer. And I was like, well, you know, that's how we manifest in life. It doesn't have to be business. It could be, any kind of relationships, any kind of just life in general. I'm like, all right, they came out to make 6 steps to manifest on demand. And I have programs and teachings and live events that have geared all about those 6 steps to manifest on demand, to create a system that works for you and not against you, or something you have to like beat yourself over the head or run into the brick wall. It's like, this is how the universe works. So like, okay, I'm a science guy, I'm a practical guy, so I want things like A, B, C, X, Y, Z, right?
Right.
And I wanted to have something that could be easily teachable to anybody, and who they can jump into that and start to manifest on demand.
That's great. Yes. And I don't know, for me, I found that I've been told I'm a manifester by so many people. And one of the things that I realize is the biggest thing that gets in my way is when I don't believe. That's
True.
my biggest obstacle, is when I let go of that, when I surrender and kind of let the universe take over and show things up as they need to show up in life. That's when everything manifests. But when I'm trying to force it and I'm going my way, the mental, like the way, the way, no, that's when I'm in trouble. So
Right. It's like setting that a powerful intention. It's not just throwing things out there and hopefully they stick to the wall. It's setting an anchor. You're anchoring in, going, this is the energy I want to stand in. Positive energy, of course, but anchoring in, and then the raw materials are going to start coming your way. I call it the gravity well. You become this vortex that sucks in the raw materials, people, time, money, etc., that come in to actually help you fulfill that intention that you set. That's called manifesting. And most people are like, well, it can't be possible. It can't be possible. That's the belief part. You're like, well, what can't be possible? What can be possible? And I would say just eliminate that from your vocabulary of what can't be possible. Can't, never, could. So say, well, what can be possible? And start there and actually start building upon that, because you're going to see that as you start, oh, this is little things possible. Maybe this little bit bigger thing is possible, and so on. And it's just like allowing that energy vortex around you, what I call the gravity well, to start sucking in everything that you need. And they'll come. It's like a beacon. You're setting off a beacon going, here I am. And this is what I'm all about. And I'm devoted and anchored to it. And people, time, energy, resources are going to come towards you. So you could utilize those to manifest on demand.
That makes so much sense. For my personal experience with this manifesting was back in 2017, I lost my house, my car, and my cat all in the same day to a fire. And Ventura fires in California. And it was a brand new house. I had traveled 7 years and done all this great traveling, and I was finally ready to like set roots down. So I made the house beautiful, put all my belongings, everything I owned in it, the whole 9 yards. First night I was going to sleep there is when the fire happened. And I had to make this conscious choice to not go into the state of being a victim and to be open to manifesting. And, I was staying at, I actually had this little mobile home that I had purchased up in another canyon, Woolsey Canyon, which had a fire later that year, but didn't get burned. But anyway, I was up there. I had rented it out to different people. So I'm staying in the 400 square foot, cleaning station room that had a little bathroom and a sink and like a place for me to put a cot, because all the other places were full. And I needed the rents from my vacation rentals to like survive until the insurance checks and things started to show up. Sure. And so the next day I'm out on I called it the yoga deck. And I mean, I had repeat customers at this mobile home. It was ridiculous, but it's a mindset, right? And I'm jumping up and down and I'm doing affirmations, and there's still smoke. I mean, it burned for about a month. I'm like staying so positive, and everything started to show up. My son loaned me his beater car that drove sideways, rolled down the windows, the whole 9 yards. And I made it really fancy. I cleaned it up, and my son said, "Oh, Mom, you souped it up." And I said, "That's right. I'm going to make it the best vacation mobile home," if you can even imagine that, the best beater car that you can have, staying in the best energy that I could while I was working towards something more. But the thing that needed to happen was when I surrendered. There was this point where I was still waiting, and my credit got down. Everything happened all at once, which happens. And I was sitting on the bed in that little 400 square foot, maid station. And I'm sitting there and I kind of surrendered. And then I rented out a Turo car to help my real estate clients And I went with a friend of mine from Virgin Islands, and she said, "Can you drive? I don't know how to drive in the US. In the, LA, you drive on the different side." And so I said, "Sure." And she rented a Mercedes. And this Mercedes, I drove all weekend, and she was like, "That looks good on you." And I was like, "Yeah, this feels good. I could do this. I need this." And then me too. I'm renting these Turo cars. Next time I go to rent one, and it broke down. Exactly 4:44 in the afternoon. And I thought, what the heck? So I go to look at my phone, and I get a beep on the email. You know how everything beeps at you. I'm calling the guy, "Hey, get AAA." And I get this message from Hyundai, of all car companies, that says, "Come in and we'll give you $75 certificate, like a Visa card." And I was like, "Oh, I could use that for groceries." That's how bad it was. And I was okay. And I was like, "All right, fine, I will go." It's not exactly the car that I want for my business and for what I do with real estate and, driving clients around, this and that, but I will go. So I surrendered to something that didn't make mental sense. And it was across town. I had an Uber over. I go to the lot, and there is the Mercedes that I had been driving, the exact model, all weekend. And I told the guy, "Here's my credit score." I pull it up, and I said, "If you can get me into that car, I just made some commissions last weekend. I will be able to put this much down. Can you help me? Because that's the car I need for my work." Yes, because he said, "Yes, in this area, nobody wants to buy a Mercedes."
All right, go figure.
$1,000 under the Blue Book value. I still drive the car today because it's like great for miles, and it looks nice still. And so that was manifesting. Beyond that, a month later, I was living in a house in Beverly Hills, and now I have a vacation home in Nevada, Lake Las Vegas. So I'm actually really blessed, but it was being opened to the manifestations that could show up, and then the surrender part.
Right. And being open to the blessing. You said being open. That's huge. I mean, you got to be open to being blessed, because it's like blessings are all around. I mean, they're there. Just a matter of taking the opportunities that are coming and presenting themselves to you. And you did, because you were kind of forced to, because of the situation.
Yes.
But so, like, why not as consumers and as business owners and just people in general, why don't we not get into a place where we're forced to take those blessings? Why don't we just look for them all the time? Because they're there. They're there. Let's manifest in good times too. How about that?
Yes. And then you just keep going. And you're
yes, like, absolutely.
Can I do that?
And then help other people see those opportunities too, so they can manifest as well.
Yes. And the more we do that, I really believe through this crazy year, this tough time, that the more we're in that higher vibration, that better energy level, that we're going to help heal each other, one person at a time, one community at a time, through community. And so that's going to make a big difference. And I don't know what we were thinking when we manifested this in the first place, but it's something. There's everything.
I think it was just like shaking the tray a little bit to get those dead leaves off, and in the sense of like, okay, we got what we shook off what we don't need anymore, in the sense of ideas, thought processes, things like that. And like, all right, so how do we move on from here? What else is possible? What else can we manifest from here? Because obviously we've taken a really good look at each other over the last year and a half. And now it's like, all right, so how can we move on from here and be better than we ever imagined?
Yes. And I'd love to hear about some of your other books, and a little bit maybe from a chapter, maybe your favorite part of the book.
Sure. I just released a book called Raw Resilience, and it's got the principles that I use to actually help me not just through the stroke and all of that stuff, but just every day. Just how do you build a reservoir of resistance and resilience to just life, in general, bad things, good things, whatever. Just how do you build up this equity inside of you that when you need it, you can tap into it in order to keep going. Because sometimes you need to, especially, these days, you got to tap into your equity of, resilience to be able to move forward. And so Raw Resilience is all about that. And there are principles that I use daily, weekly, monthly. And there's things that people out there who are struggling are like, well, how do I feel so overwhelmed? It's like, this is probably a good book, really quick read for you to actually take some of these principles and apply them to your life. So one of my favorite parts is just about the whole attitude of taking care of yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And most people that are overwhelmed is that they have this selfless feeling, and that's great. And they're trying to take care of other people first.
Right.
Great. But you can't really take care of people to the optimum level if your cup is not full. And I show some principles about making sure your cup is always full so it runneth over, right? That's the concept. And most people have it, they're like, they got 2 drops at the bottom of the cup and they're still trying to give. And it's like, you're not doing anybody any good, especially yourself. So fill that cup to the brim and let it roll over to the people that are in your family, in your life, in your business, in your other relationships. Make that happen first.
Right. Definitely. Well, I know that working with a lot of business owners, especially small business owners, and then moms, that's the one thing that they suffer with the most is that they're doing so much and they're running on empty, or their business is running them. They're not running the business anymore. They don't have the life that they wanted. And the reason they created the business is to create this beautiful life with their family, and they end up losing their family life because they're not present. And so it's a huge thing. And it really it sounds, I don't know, self-centric almost, but really it's not. When you take care of yourself, you're able to give to everyone else.
Yeah. And because they got into the business because they wanted to help people typically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, yes, but that's the symptom of having a good business, is helping people. You get into the business because you want a new lifestyle, like you said. I agree completely. So it's like, work on the lifestyle system and infrastructure for your business first, and then have the symptoms that you're helping people with that business. And then you can kind of step back and have it run itself. You've created something that kind of has its own perpetual motion, perpetual energy going behind it.
Yes, yes. And now you have more books. So I'd love to hear about some more of the books.
Sure. I have a book called Rewrite Your Story, Reshape Your Life. So it's all about your inner story to yourself. What are you telling yourself? Are you the main character in this movie you call your life? Or are you just playing a side character or an extra who doesn't have any lines and sits in the background and letting other people take the forefront in your movie? And that's what it's all about, this book, about the 10 principles of how to regain that dominance in your own movie and be able to take over and rewrite the story if you need to. Even if bad things have happened to you in the past, that does not mean that bad things have to happen to you now. You can start rewriting your story right now, in this time, in this moment. And so that's what that book is all about. And it goes along the kind of like a fairy tale type of a feel from chapter to chapter, but it's to kind of put it in perspective, like, hey, you have imagination control over what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
So ask the question, well, so what comes next? What else is possible? What else can I bring into my manifesting field? What else can I do? How else can I receive more? And you start asking those questions, lo and behold, answers are going to arrive. Mm-hmm. Oh, that can happen. That can happen. Maybe now you've got some choices. Maybe for the first time in a long time, you have choices of what happens next, because you thought, like, I don't have any choice. I only have to go this. I can only go this way. And that's just not true. And so it helps you to rewrite that story you tell to yourself and the story you tell to others, the story of your business, etc., to be able to manifest and bring into being the things you intend to create.
Yes. And then before the lockdowns, you were doing a lot of events. Are you still doing events? Or
I am still doing events. I'm coming back in the end of 2021. We're doing another Imagination IQ. That's my big signature live event, and where we blend imagination and IQ, hence the name Imagination IQ. It is a fully gamified event. So when people get there, it's not just sitting to hear lectures or hear talks. It's interacting with your fellow participant as well as the instructor as well, in doing physical as well as mental activities that cause you to see that possibilities are endless, blessings are endless, and they're right there in that room and in your house and in your car, everywhere. And doing activities that bring out the fun, going, life is supposed to be fun.
Yes.
And you can have fun right now. And the more fun you have, the more positive you are. The more positive you are, the more you're going to draw in the awesome things that are going to help you create the things that you want. And that's what imagination IQ is all about, is combining those two things, because that's what we are: left, right brain, imagination IQ. Let's have those work together for your benefit. That's what those live events. So we're coming back in the end of 2021 for another imagination IQ.
So fun. So fun. And when you have any in Vegas, or Beverly Hills, those are my two locations. So love to.
Okay. Yeah. The last time we were in Vegas was 2017. I think we might be coming back in Vegas maybe in 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, we're finally starting to have events now.
Yeah.
Live music concerts and all kinds of things. So it's
I've been missing it. I love live events. I love being there with people, and I love seeing people's faces on those aha moments going, oh, now I get it. And it's because they had to experience it with their whole body, and not just hearing it on a podcast, which is, they're awesome, but you need to get, engaged with an environment with other people too, with their energy, and say, this is how I can coexist in this environment and create things myself and create things with others too. Collaborate.
Yes, that does. A community really makes a difference. And
most definitely,
we as people, we need that. And now we realize, I think more than ever, we realize how important community is for our health, mental health, well-being, everything. It's just a smile, a hug, a high five, something that, it just changes your whole day and makes a big difference. Although that universal pause was very helpful for some, and for our world to kind of heal a little bit in its own way. I think the pollen count has gone crazy this season. There's so many flowers and we're not used to all the wonderful nature around us that we kind of lost for so many years. So we have to adjust to this healthier air.
Oh, darn, I have to adjust to healthier air.
That's, my daughter and I both had allergies, and we were like, oh, are we okay? And we had to check up. They're like, no, you just have allergies. It's okay.
Yeah.
That was a scare.
Well, it's like, this whole thing of it was like a step back. Like, okay, the pause, you call it the universal pause. I like that. But we all step back, and we're like looking at we've been missing all of this. And now what is important in our lives, and the community, the connection, and the collaboration with other people, and just doing things differently than just like, let me go hustle and put my head down and not even look around me, have the blinders on. Yeah. And it's like, let's do this together. The more we can do this together, the better it's going to be.
Yes. Now, if you could go back in time to when you were maybe, let's say, a 10-year-old, what would you tell yourself? What advice would you give your younger self?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I was entering writing contests and winning a lot of them. And so I probably would tell myself, don't listen to the naysayers, whether or not they're family members, whether you love them or not. Continue writing like you are as a 10-year-old. Now, I do continue to write, obviously, but I had a bigger fantasy when I was a kid. Want to write more novels, want to write more fiction, and I do. But I wanted it really bad. I could taste it as a 10-year-old, and I was doing these contests because I wanted to kind of gauge how good I was. And I realized, okay, I've got some skill. So I would tell myself, so don't give up. There are going to be people that tell you to not go that route. Oh, it's a hard industry or whatever else. Don't ever give up, because you love this. This brings you joy. Go after the joy. And I would tell myself that. Always go after the joy.
So true. So true. And for people listening in that haven't really experienced, or they have experienced it, but they didn't realize it, they haven't really come to terms with how to manifest or what to do with this manifesting. How does this work? What would you tell them to get started? How to let go of the limiting beliefs that might be blocking their manifestation?
I've got some practical tips, real easy stuff that anybody can do. The first part is become aware of where you're at right now. Like, I ask the question to myself every morning, and I continue to do this, it sounds like a weird question, but you'll get it in a minute. So why am I where I'm at? Why am I where I'm at? And so there's obviously things in the past that I've done, that I've not done, that other people are doing with me, that have led me to this point of being right here in this moment, right now. So why am I where I'm at? And then I always ask myself the second question. So from where I'm at, how can I receive more?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How can I receive more? Whatever that more is, whether it's more money, more prestige, more better job, whatever that more is to you or what you're looking to manifest. How can I manifest that? And if your answer is I have no idea, that's okay. That's okay. Because then your next step is creating a powerful intention. And intentions are not being shut out to the universe. It's the word intention is to tend within. Be selfish. Let's say I love that word actually. But selfish is not a bad word. Be selfish a little bit. Tend within, going, all right, I'm going to take care of myself in order to receive more. Because if your vessel isn't ready, you can't receive more. You can't. If your cup's not out there ready to receive more from the pot, it's not going to receive any more. So get ready to receive. How do you get ready to receive? Well, start thinking about all of the things that you intend to create. To intend, I want to do this. So I'm going to tend within, like, how does that make you feel? Let's really dial into that. And then the next step is be in that space all the time, mentally, physically, emotionally. And this is where you start pulling in on the gravity well, what I call the gravity well. It starts bringing those resources come to you. And this is kind of where the magic is. All those raw materials are coming to you, but you're not quite manifesting yet. Not quite. You're bringing in the raw materials, but what do you do with them? Well, now you use your imagination. And the word imagination or imagine comes from the French word image, which means to manipulate images and data in the mind.
Nice.
So the raw materials coming in, you're basically a big puzzle, doing a big puzzle. Like, all right, I could take this car, like you're taking a Mercedes. I could take this car. I could take the $75 gift card. I could take all these things. And I could put them together like this, and I will receive this XYZ, right? So now you're putting all the pieces together. But those pieces weren't there before because you weren't drawing them in with a powerful intention. So now all the raw materials come in. You use your imagination to put them in the right order for whatever you're intending to create. And then you let it sit. And this is the hardest point for some people. This is my next step. The fifth step is dreams. To dream. When I talk about dream, I'm talking about like to incubate. Let things cook a little bit. It's like baking a cake. You've got all the ingredients. You put them into the big bowl, you mixed them all up, you put them into the pan, and now you're going to put them in the oven and let it cook and let it rise. I mean, if you kept opening that oven up all the time, kept poking at the cake every 30 seconds, you're not going to have a good cake in the end. You got to let it be, let it do its thing, let it incubate. And then the timer goes off, ding, and then you pull that cake out, and now it's ready to manifest. You get to share it, have some for you, and you get to share it with other people as well. Manifesting is the easiest part. It's being consistent about those first 5 steps. That's the key. So those, I would say, really get clear on, especially the first one, awareness. Why am I where I'm at? Okay, now that I've really got conscious on that, how can I receive more? And then set a powerful intention to say, okay, I intend to create this in my life. And you can give it a time frame. You can give it like by tomorrow or by the end of the month or whatever that may be. And then start being in that energy of like, yeah, I believe this is going to happen. And I'm in a new place. I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm becoming the phoenix. I'm rising from the ashes. And sure enough, things meaning people, time, resources, money, start coming to you going, I wasn't expecting that. You weren't expecting it because you're not used to that, but you are drawing that stuff in. That is happening because of your powerful energy of like, yeah, I'm ready to receive. I can receive more now. I'm ready. And then it just starts coming a puzzle piece. Like, how do I want to put these resources now to use? That's my imagination. Now, once you put all that together, put it into the oven, let it cook, let it do its thing. Don't mess with it. And the timer will go off, ding, and it's ready to serve you as well as serving other people as well.
Wow. I love that. And obviously, like the car story, just the car story I shared, that happened. And I had to be willing to go somewhere totally that didn't even make any sense. I don't need a Hyundai right now. I do because I'm renting nicer cars for my clients, really. And so it showed up in a place that I was not expecting it. It's almost like little surprises everywhere you go, as long as you keep doing all that work. And it's almost like it becomes part of your second nature, I would imagine.
Yeah, indeed. And some things that are you might deem as yourself like as a downfall or a hindrance or maybe a
Mhm.
handicap, and I'll use that word lightly but they're actually a positive in the situation if you let it not bother you. Like
Right.
I just moved into a new house in Placerville too. We've got land, got a couple of acres of land and all that good stuff. We got animals and the whole my wife's all into that. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, when we were going into the market, it was heavy. It's really hard to market actually right now. It's like just inventory is just flying off. There's not really staying around very long. And we were jumping in right there at the beginning of that issue. And we
Yeah.
were thinking, I don't know if we're going to get a house at this time,
Right.
but because the owner had his brother just went through a stroke himself and
Mm.
heard about my situation. We got moved to the front of the list because of that, because I was willing to be vulnerable and open about it. It was like there was other people who had come in before, and even cash buyers were coming in, but they
Yeah.
liked us better. They liked me. They
Mhm.
liked the fact that I understood and or I was like them. And so they're like, we like you. We want to put you at the top of the list. And we got the house. We like blew past everybody in the
Mm.
process. That has nothing to do with luck. That has everything to do with like, I'm standing in who I am right now. Why am I where I'm at?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a stroke and I have had some physical issues. How can I receive more? Well, this was one way I was not expecting, but it
Mhm.
came through.
Nice. That is beautiful. And the market is so interesting right now. I lead a team of real estate agents and teach an online course in real estate. And it's that manifesting of, yes, there's going to be clients. Yes, you are going to still make sales. Yes, there are ways to help people find things in their budget still. And these are really important things, that letting go of that mental, it's impossible. The impossibility is the possibility.
Everything is possible. It's
Yeah.
just we're the ones that make it impossible by going, oh no, not gonna go there because it's obvious can't happen. You
Yes.
just turned off the energetic switch for it to happen.
Hmm.
Don't do that. Don't do that. What is possible? Everything that is under the sun imaginable is possible. It's the question is, do you want to put your energy to it or not?
Yes. Yes. And I think it's the belief systems people have where, they'll tell you there's no way you're not going to make this, or, this is impossible. I remember my friend said, there's no way now. How are you going to make it? You're just going to have to go get a job. When my house everything burned down, I lost everything. They said that you're just going to have to go get a job. Maybe you can go work with my sister at the grocery store. Nothing wrong with that, but but I've been an entrepreneur like my whole life, and I was like, I know what I'm doing, and I have this belief that everything will show up as long as I'm willing to take the next right action. And within 2 months, they came back to me, these two sisters that are friends of mine, and they said, Sheila, you're crazy. You're coming out there and wild sometimes, and we don't know, but you know how to make money. So we will never question you again.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, I mean, I understand that because after with the health issues and all the stroke and all that stuff, I was like, all right, I can't do everything that I used to do all by myself, nor do I want to. So
Right.
during pandemic, during all this craziness, plus recovering from stroke stuff,
Yeah.
I got to do something that I wanted to do, but I was hesitant to do at first, but to hire more people. And guess
Mm.
what? People were getting out of work left and right, and now they needed to be trained in some new stuff. And I was put into a position to be able to give them employment, pay them money, and for them to learn a new skill, and for me to do even more business than I had done in the previous year. 2020 was a monster year for me when it came to business.
Mm.
Monster. And 2021 acting like the same way too. Just monster year because I was able to not just have me and my couple other people. Now I have 25 people that I'm going and have people that are working for me going. And I was able to train them, teach them new skills, and they were able to go out there and
Mhm.
be able to do work for me. Whereas I'm focusing on getting new clients, and I'm really good at that. And so
Yeah.
it's like this. Why didn't I do this earlier? It was like, V8 moment.
It is hard to let go. As an entrepreneur, whenever you're building this new business, those listening in, maybe you're starting a side gig, and this is the first time you've become an entrepreneur and you're putting on a different hat. And there is a time when the budget is zero and you're investing your money to start your business. And maybe you do have to do a lot of the things yourself in order to get to, you know, not being in the red and starting to make some positive cash flow.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And then there's that point where there's a fear of paying people because you feel like you're going to lose finally you're making positive cash flow and now I've got to pay people. But it's that's going to make you be able to have even more success, because then you get to be the talent instead of doing everything. I mean, I've built my website because the people kind of dropped the ball. And I was like, I am not a programmer. Thank goodness I have that in my background. But it was like, I never want to do this again as long as I live, how many hours I put in. And so it's nice to be able, you know, we can all figure out how to do things, especially now, thanks to Google. We can just look it up and watch the video 5 times if we need
Sure.
to. But the time involved is
Can't get that back.
the
Can't get it back.
Yes. And so that's the thing, whenever you can, I actually have a team coming in tonight after my hours here, where we're going to be doing a whole program on my magazine publishing that I work with. And so that's something that I'll be doing tonight. And that's like, okay, you go do that and I will lead, so that it turns into leadership versus doing all the work. And it's a tough one because some people will get stuck in running the business again, where the business is running them.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And the one thing they got into business for was to get more time to have a different lifestyle. Yet they're just perpetuating this lifestyle of overwhelm with their own business. And it's like, get off of that. And that don't let a stroke or some physical thing happen to you that forces you to grab the blessing.
Right.
So like we all do it from time to time. We have the blinders on. I had it when it came to that. I mean, I still hired people, but I was still doing a lot of stuff myself because I could.
Right.
And then when you can't, if you don't have something else to fall back on, you are going to go down the toilet if you're not careful. And so luckily I was like, all right, I had systems in place, so I wasn't going to go down the toilet. However, I didn't want to repeat that again, whether there was a fiscal thing or just a economy thing or COVID. Oh my gosh, whatever's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen? I want to be in a place where whatever happens, I can still manifest on demand. And that's about attitude, and that's about preparation, about resilience, about all the things we've been talking about today.
Yes, we are ready for the zombies.
There we go. Don't be a zombie. Be ready for the zombies.
Yes, this is such an interesting time. What tips do you have for people that have maybe had like a tough situation like this, the COVID alone, that's taken them out of their careers and put them in a tough situation where they're in that survival mode? It's hard to manifest from the survival energy. What?
True. I would say, well, how do you want to look at it? First, I would say, well, let's get your mindset in a place of like, all right, what if you had to start over? And guess what? It sounds like you kind of are having to start over. So it's reality. So what if you had to start over from scratch? What would you do as a business owner, or as just what would you want to do in life? What would be your purpose? Think about that. Like, what brings you the most joy? Whatever it is, even if it sounds stupid to your ears because you're so accustomed to what society wants. So what would bring you the most joy? Whatever that is, find a way to start making income around that. And you've got a chance now. You have an opportunity to come from the ashes and actually be born anew in this, whatever this new thing is. And maybe it's an old thing that you have suppressed over time. That's this joy thing. Like, no, I can't have joy. I got to go make money. The two can go hand in hand.
Yes.
And I would say, what is that thing that you've been suppressing all these years? Bring it back to the surface and re-engage it. Like, yeah, I want that. I want more of that. I want more joy around this thing and create a lifestyle, a business around that.
I totally agree. And there's something about playing, having fun, even at work. Whether you set up a team now that we're able to like start meeting in person again, have a sports team with your work, or have some kind of events together, or a dance party, something fun, because we spend more hours at work with our coworkers than we do with our family, in a place where our families can come together and we can really enjoy that. It's not, I feel like work is not one thing and life the other. I think we coexist. and to bring families into things, to share. I raised 6 children. I have 3 of my own, 3 I fostered to adopt. And so they're all grown now. And with that, with all these kids, I shared a lot about what I was doing, whatever it was, whatever business, and they learned more from that. And then they traveled with me. We went all over the world, studied with the monks in India, studied with Tony Robbins' group, did all these fun things, and they learned. So it's not bad to share what you're doing with
No.
your family, and it will really bless them. My kids all have their own little side businesses. Some of them are doing so incredibly well. I'm like, whoa, okay, can I borrow money? But hundreds of thousands of dollars playing chess or something ridiculous, and it's like, really? Okay. And
see, it's not ridiculous. It's because they're getting joy out of it. That's they want.
fun.
Yeah,
exactly. And
it's ridiculous not to go after the joy. That's the problem that society pushes on. It's like, hey, you're having joy? No, stamp that out. Go pound the pavement and make money. No, have joy. That's why I love games and I love gamification. That's why my events, my live. I didn't want to go to a live event where I had seminar butt. I didn't want my butt to go numb. I wanted to have an event where people are engaging with each other, engaging with content, and then embodying that content fully in the moment.
Yes.
I mean, we have live music at my events too. So it's like we've got a full band and the whole 9 yards. So that people are coming in and out, and of course during presentations too. Sometimes I'll have music that's played to make a point. But music is a unifying factor as well. Let's do something together that we all can enjoy, all learn, and all benefit to take it to the next level as well. For sure.
I totally think that's the best kind of events to have, really, because even in all these scientist studies, they study the neuroscience, how the brain works. And what do they say? The learning takes place during those rest pauses, during the dance break, during the hug break. That's when things kind of, I don't know, they solidify in the brain, and that's the learning. It's not when you're sitting there. You get bored and then the brain turns off and you don't even get as much. So it really does.
The integration. Yeah, the integration of what I just heard through my senses, my ears or my eyes, and then integrating that into like, okay, I can apply this way.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you could apply it in the moment in a game style, in a hypothetical, in event, or anywhere for that matter? Then you're like, oh, I'm putting into practice what I just learned in a hypothetical situation, and my brain doesn't know the difference between a hypothetical and an actual reality. Yeah. So I actually did it for the first time right here. And what if I could go and replicate that in the quote unquote real world? Well, you're on your way to success, my friend.
Yes, very, very true. And I would love to ask you, we're coming to the end of our time, so I'd love to ask you where people can connect with you, get your books, and sign up for your programs.
Sure. Well, the best way is just come check me out on the website, which is theimaginationinstitute.com. So it's make sure you have the article on the front, theimaginationinstitute.com. You can check out all my programs there, and you can check out books as well. And right now, the Raw Resilience you probably will see it on social media flying around too. We're giving away copies of Raw Resilience, and you can find that link also on the website too.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you again, Dan, for being a guest on the show. And for those tuning in, we'll be back after these messages.
Chapter 1. Overview of the Boots Formula. In December of 2017, I lost my house, my car, and my cat due to a fire. It sounds like a country music song, but that was my reality, and yet another rock bottom situation after a long period of doing really well. I had just finalized a divorce, purchased a new car, and moved into a house that I bought for myself and one of my kids to live in while she went to college. I put all my savings into it, closed escrow on November 3rd, and spent some time making it beautiful, more for my kid than for myself. I was cash poor but proud to finally get into a nice home again. A month later, I had a late meeting with a client and was then called to check on an issue with a vacation rental cabin I was running up in the hills. I was frustrated with the delay, thinking, I'm so tired and I've been working so hard, I just want to go home to my new place and sleep. Later, I realized that delay was a protection, and I was grateful for the soul reroute. even if it was initially beyond my understanding. As I drove back, I saw the flames of the huge Thomas fire in Ventura that ended up burning for close to a month and spread over 280,000 acres. The hills near my house were burning. 20-foot flames leapt into the air, which was thick with choking black smoke and soot. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw the extent of the fire. As I got closer, I was told that I had to evacuate my home. I rescued my cat and got a few things together, but the power was already out, so I grabbed paperwork and pictures, anything I could shove into a box in the dark. Some of my neighbors were in denial, refusing to leave until the firefighters came through, issuing mandatory evacuations. They thought it was a little fire over in the hills. They hadn't been on my drive home. They didn't know it was one of the biggest fires in California history and the largest I'd ever seen in my life. I drove back to the little prefab mobile home that I was renting out through a vacation rental service. One of the units was empty, but it wasn't finished. It had a toilet and a kitchen, but it didn't have a shower or many of the other things it needed to make it livable. It was maybe 400 square feet, and that's where I unloaded all the boxes of stuff that were now my only earthly possessions. The next day, one of my friends came over to help me, and when she opened the door, the cat I had rescued ran out the door. She was so freaked out by the move that she just bolted and never came back. We couldn't find her, even with a microchip. Shortly after that, my car was totaled in an accident, and my descent to rock bottom was complete. By this time, I was able to get back into action in record time, using a formula I had learned from all the other waves in life. The Boots Formula. I've had an interesting life. It hasn't been easy, but I'm not complaining, and I'm not a victim. I've had a lot of rock bottoms, a lot of downs, but a lot of ups as well. I mean, how many 10-year-olds get to meet the president? I'll tell you that story later in the book. Through it all, I had to learn how to go from rock bottom to rock solid. I had to look back at what I've done and what I still do to get out of that place and back into life. I asked myself, what has helped me walk through the bottom faster and still be who I want to be, without letting it totally screw up my life? What did I do last time, and how did I do it? What type of mindset did I need to have? Who did I need to reach out to? Who did I need to be? I saw the patterns in all the times I've had to do that, and in how I've seen my friends and clients get through their rock bottom moments as well. Ultimately, I came up with the Boots Formula, a simple yet powerful method of redirecting your thoughts and actions. The Boots Formula will teach you the skills you need to quickly dissolve limiting beliefs and get back into action. In simple language, Boots will grab your problem by the bra straps and help you get back into action in any situation. Sound like something you can use? Let's take a look at each letter. B is for being. The first letter of the Boots Formula is B, which stands for being. At one point in my life, I decided this is who I'm being in all that I'm doing. When shift has hit the fan, you realize this is messy, and you just have to roll up your sleeves. Maybe you have other people to help you, but maybe you don't. Either way, you have to be the one in command. You have to decide who you're being and what you're doing. Whether you're starting over or just hoping to make it through, you have to ask yourself, how am I going to show up through this? Who are you going to be as you're walking your puppies or cleaning up the mess? Who are you going to be while you're reorganizing your life and changing your living situation? If you're being who you really are, then you won't be in that bad situation for long. This first letter in the Boots Formula, B for being, shows up in how you're speaking, having fun with family and friends, or helping a client. Who you choose to be while doing all the things you're required to do as you move from rock bottom back into action makes all the difference. But why is this so important? Because the way you show up and the energy that comes from you will help attract better things in your life. I know that sounds like magic, but it's happened to me time and again, as you'll see throughout this book. The opposite is true as well. If you show up with negative energy, you will attract worse things into your life. You notice that when you meet people who focus only on the negative, everything that comes out of their mouth is complaints, tragedy, and chaos. Somehow these things just happen to them, and this becomes a pattern. Those people are training their subconscious mind to look for the negatives to show up, so they don't even see the positives. But when we're able to retrain our minds to focus on the positives, we're able to enjoy more of life, even while we're rebuilding and rebooting. We're going to starve those negative thoughts, not feeding them with our attention, time, or energy. When you focus on the good parts of your life, those things that you can be grateful for in this moment, that energy will bring even more good things your way. Don't get me wrong. You still have to take the action steps to get out of the negative, and you're going to have times in your life when you're just going to have to do whatever's in front of you. It may not be the prettiest thing, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes, when you're focusing on getting out of a hole, it feels like you're buried in your own self-centric thinking. But when you get out of that mindset and put down your problem for a moment, it clears the way for a solution. One way to do this is to help someone less fortunate than you. Volunteering with your community, religious organization, school, or work, which allows you to fully show up, contribute, and utilize your unique talents. When you're using your flow, you're not thinking about the problem at hand. You're not showing up for approval. You're just being your best self. If you're showing up and being fully present, people will see your true essence and respond to that. Having that respite will open a floodgate of ideas and give you the resources to resolve any difficult situation you find yourself in. This first letter is a reminder to stay in your being and live your truth. It will help you stay grounded and centered when things are in a state of change and chaos. The truth is that there's often form, freedom, and order even in the center of a storm. The first O is for orientation. The next letter in the Boots formula stands for orientation. As you are living through your rock bottom moment, you need to know that it's not better than it is and it's not worse than it just is what it is. Assessing your current orientation is a really big action step in the Boots process. Discovering orientation is part of the overall change you may be in, and it will help you find some surprisingly simple solutions. In this case, we're referring to a place. Where do you find yourself on the map of your life? Within this stage, you'll also acknowledge where you were in the past and where you want to be. Once you know where here is, you can answer, how did I get here? And where do I want to go from here? Assessing your orientation also means considering your options and saying, I am here on the map and I want to go over there. I have a giveaway gift for all my listeners, especially for beautiful, authentic you. Request your free introduction to the Boots formula and Boots meditation today at www.sheilamac.com/Boots meditation. Sheila, SHEILAMAC.com/BOOTS meditation. All right. to grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible as well as on Amazon and Kindle and at www.sheilamac.com.